Over the next few days, you may begin noticing that your energy feels lighter somehow, more open, more curious, more emotionally available for new experiences, conversations, and possibilities. Because Venus is now entering Gemini, bringing a refreshing shift into movement, connection, attraction, and emotional expansion. And in this video, we'll explore how to consciously work with this energy, how to become more magnetically aligned with what genuinely uplifts your spirit. And later, I'll guide you through a powerful psychological exercise designed to help you retrain your nervous system to receive more joy, openness, and positive connection before this transit fully peaks. Because this energy is not only about attracting new experiences, it's about becoming emotionally available for a lighter and more expansive version of life again.
Something inside you may feel softer now, not weaker, lighter, like your nervous system is slowly remembering that life is allowed to feel enjoyable again. That's the energy Venus entering Gemini begins awakening. A return to movement, a return to curiosity, a return to emotional openness after periods of heaviness, overthinking, or emotional contraction. And maybe that's exactly what your spirit needed now. Not more pressure, more space to breathe. Because Gemini energy moves differently from emotional intensity. It wants flow, conversation, connection, discovery, moments that remind you life still contains excitement, spontaneity, and possibility. You may notice today that your thoughts feel more socially open now. You feel more interested in connecting, more willing to explore new ideas, more emotionally responsive to people, experiences, or environments that genuinely uplift your energy. That shift matters deeply because healing is not only about processing difficult emotions endlessly. Eventually, healing also becomes laughter, curiosity, movement, lightness, inspiration. The nervous system needs positive emotional experiences too. It needs moments that remind the body it is safe to open again. And Venus in Gemini creates beautiful opportunities for that. You may even notice today that your energy feels more magnetic now. Not because you are forcing attention, because openness itself naturally creates attraction. People are drawn toward energy that feels alive, curious, expressive, authentic, emotionally flowing instead of emotionally guarded. And maybe this transit is helping you reconnect with that version of yourself again. The version that feels playful, expressive, socially confident, interested in life instead of emotionally weighed down by it. That reconnection can become incredibly healing, especially if recent months have kept your focus mostly inside stress, pressure, or emotional survival. Because eventually, the soul wants expansion again, not through force, through enjoyment, through meaningful connection, through conversations that energize you, through experiences that make your spirit feel awake and present again. You may even notice today that your perspective on attraction is changing. Real magnetism is not only about appearance or attention, it's energy, the emotional atmosphere you carry into the world. And when your nervous system begins feeling lighter, your energy naturally becomes more inviting too. Not because you are performing, because you are becoming more emotionally available for life itself. That's powerful, because openness creates opportunities, new conversations, new connections, new experiences that would never fully enter your reality if your energy remained emotionally closed. And under Venus in Gemini, small moments can become surprisingly meaningful. A conversation that inspires you, a random interaction that shifts your mood, an unexpected idea that reconnects you with excitement again. Pay attention to those moments, because this transit often brings expansion through lightness, not heaviness. And maybe that's one of the deepest lessons your spirit is learning now, that growth does not always need to arrive through struggle. Sometimes growth also arrives through joy, through openness, through allowing yourself to emotionally reconnect with what makes life feel vibrant again. So today, let yourself soften a little. Let yourself laugh more easily. Follow curiosity more freely. Stay open to conversations, experiences, and connections that genuinely brighten your energy. Because this Venus in Gemini transit is not only helping you attract new experiences, it's helping your spirit remember what emotional lightness feels like again.
One of the most beautiful things about Venus entering Gemini is how quickly it can shift the emotional atmosphere around you. Not through force, through openness. Because energy changes the moment your spirit stops emotionally bracing against life all the time. And maybe that's what this transit is gently teaching now. You do not need to carry heaviness constantly in order to protect yourself. You are allowed to feel lighter again, allowed to laugh more freely, allowed to explore new conversations, allowed to let curiosity guide your energy instead of only responsibility or emotional pressure. That shift creates magnetism naturally, because people are deeply affected by emotional atmosphere. And when your energy feels open, present, expressive, curious, life begins responding differently to you too. New interactions appear more easily. Conversations flow more naturally. Unexpected connections begin forming, not because you became someone else overnight, because your nervous system became more emotionally available. That availability matters deeply, because many people unknowingly move through life with guarded energy, not intentionally, just habitually. Years of stress, disappointment, or emotional survival can quietly train the body to expect tension first. But Venus in Gemini interrupts that heaviness. It reminds the spirit that connection can feel playful too, light, interesting, inspiring. And maybe that's why this energy can feel so refreshing emotionally. It reconnects you with the version of yourself that enjoys life more spontaneously, the version that feels curious instead of emotionally shut down. That curiosity is incredibly powerful right now, because Gemini energy opens pathways through exploration. The more open you become internally, the more opportunities your awareness begins noticing externally. You may suddenly feel inspired to reach out to someone, try something different, express yourself more honestly, say yes to experiences your old mindset might have dismissed automatically before. Pay attention to those impulses, because under this transit, small decisions can create surprisingly meaningful shifts. A conversation can become an opportunity, an idea can become momentum. A moment of openness can completely change the emotional direction of your week. That's why this transit is so strongly connected to attraction energy. Not only romantic attraction, energetic attraction. The ability to emotionally align with experiences that reflect the frequency you are embodying. And lighter energy often attracts lighter experiences naturally. More movement, more synchronicity,
more inspiration, more emotionally uplifting interactions. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Because the emotional state you consistently carry quietly influences what kinds of people, environments, and opportunities feel drawn toward your energy. You may even notice today that you feel more expressive now, more comfortable sharing ideas, more willing to communicate authentically, more interested in environments where your spirit feels mentally and emotionally stimulated. That's healthy, because your soul was never meant to remain emotionally compressed forever. Expansion is natural. Expression is natural. Connection is natural. And maybe this Venus in Gemini transit is helping you remember how powerful your energy becomes when you stop emotionally restricting your light. So today, allow yourself to stay open. Follow conversations that energize you. Follow ideas that inspire you. Follow environments where your nervous system feels lighter instead of heavier. Because this transit is not only helping you attract new experiences, it's helping you become more emotionally aligned with the version of life your spirit genuinely wants to experience now.
One subtle pattern many people carry emotionally is the belief that growth must always feel heavy, that transformation must always arrive through pressure, exhaustion, or emotional intensity. But Venus entering Gemini offers a very different kind of expansion, one rooted in lightness, in curiosity, in emotional openness. And maybe that's exactly why this transit can feel so healing for the nervous system, because it reminds you that life is also allowed to feel enjoyable while you evolve. Not every breakthrough needs to arrive through collapse. Sometimes growth arrives through new conversations, new perspectives, laughter, inspiration, movement, connection. Sometimes your spirit expands because it finally feels safe enough to open again. That realization changes energy profoundly, because when people become too emotionally identified with struggle, they can unconsciously begin rejecting joy, rejecting ease, rejecting experiences that feel lighter than what they've become emotionally accustomed to carrying. But your nervous system was never meant to remain in survival mode forever. It was meant to regulate upward too, toward creativity, toward curiosity, toward openness, toward emotional flexibility and movement. And Venus in Gemini supports that beautifully. You may notice today that your energy responds strongly to environments that feel mentally refreshing, conversations that stimulate you positively, people who make your spirit feel lighter, experiences that naturally create excitement instead of emotional depletion. Pay attention to that, because your energy is becoming more sensitive now to what genuinely nourishes it. That sensitivity is not weakness, it's alignment becoming clearer. You begin realizing that your emotional state is deeply influenced by what you continuously surround yourself with, the conversations you absorb, the content you consume, the emotional atmosphere you repeatedly place your nervous system inside. And maybe this transit is encouraging you to become more intentional about that, not from fear, from self-respect. Because lighter energy creates space for new possibilities to enter. Creativity expands more easily, communication flows more naturally, confidence strengthens without force, and attraction becomes more authentic because your energy stops trying so hard to protect itself constantly. That's where true magnetism begins. Not in performance, in emotional flow, in the ability to remain connected to curiosity, presence, and expression without over-controlling every interaction or outcome. You may even notice today that your spirit wants more variety now, more movement, more inspiration, more mentally stimulating experiences that remind you how expansive life can feel when your energy is not emotionally compressed. That desire matters, because under Gemini energy, curiosity becomes guidance. The things that naturally brighten your spirit often point toward alignment, creativity, expansion, and emotional renewal.
And the more consistently you allow yourself to follow what genuinely uplifts your energy, the more your entire emotional frequency begins shifting upward, not artificially, naturally. Because joy itself is deeply healing. Presence is healing. Connection is healing. Laughter is healing. And maybe this Venus and Gemini transit is trying to help your nervous system remember that life can still feel beautiful without needing to become emotionally complicated first. So today, stop measuring your growth only through struggle. Notice where lightness is trying to enter your life too. Because this transit is not only helping you attract more positive experiences, it's teaching your spirit how to emotionally receive them again.
Over the next 3 days, I want you to begin noticing what genuinely lifts your energy. Not what impresses people, not what feels emotionally familiar, what actually makes your spirit feel lighter, calmer, more alive, more open. Because many people have spent so long adapting to stress that the nervous system forgets how to naturally receive joy. And this Venus in Gemini transit is the perfect opportunity to gently retrain that pattern. So here's the exercise I want you to practice before this energy fully peaks. For the next few days, follow curiosity intentionally, not recklessly, consciously. When something sparks genuine interest inside you, pause and notice it. A conversation that energizes you, a song that changes your mood, a creative idea that excites your mind, a place that suddenly feels emotionally refreshing. Instead of automatically dismissing those moments, lean toward them slightly. Because under Venus in Gemini, curiosity is often guidance. It reveals where your energy naturally wants expansion. And expansion becomes much easier when the nervous system stops expecting heaviness all the time. You may also notice how quickly your mood shifts depending on what you focus on. Pay attention to that carefully, because your attention is feeding your emotional state constantly, and this exercise is designed to help your awareness become more intentional about where that energy flows. So, each morning, ask yourself one simple question. What would make my spirit feel more alive today? Then allow the answer to guide small decisions throughout your day. Maybe it's reaching out to someone. Maybe it's changing your environment. Maybe it's allowing yourself to laugh more freely. Maybe it's taking a break from content, conversations, or routines that consistently lower your energy. Trust those instincts, because your nervous system is becoming more honest now about what genuinely nourishes it. And nourishment matters deeply, especially if you've spent long periods prioritizing survival over joy. This exercise is not about forcing positivity artificially. It's about rebuilding emotional openness gradually, teaching your mind and body that lighter experiences are safe to receive too. That connection can feel uplifting, that communication can feel inspiring, that life can feel expansive without becoming emotionally overwhelming first. You may even notice that the more open your energy becomes, the more positive interactions begin appearing naturally. Not because you are chasing attention, because your frequency is softening. And softer energy often creates more space for meaningful connection, creativity, and synchronicity to enter. That's why this transit can feel so magnetic emotionally. Not because it forces attraction, because openness itself becomes attractive. People feel it, life responds to it, and your spirit begins remembering how natural connection feels when your nervous system is no longer bracing against life constantly. So, over these next few days, practice becoming emotionally available for lighter experiences. Notice what energizes your spirit. Protect what drains it unnecessarily. Allow curiosity to guide your attention instead of old emotional heaviness. because this Venus in Gemini transit is not only helping you attract more joy externally, it's helping your nervous system remember how to emotionally receive joy internally again.
Something important may already be shifting within you now, not only emotionally, energetically. Because the more connected you become to what genuinely makes your spirit feel alive, the more naturally magnetic your energy becomes too. Not through performance, not through trying harder to be noticed, through authenticity, through emotional openness, through curiosity, through allowing yourself to participate in life more fully again. And maybe that's the deeper lesson Venus in Gemini is trying to reveal now. Your energy becomes most attractive when it feels free. Free to express, free to explore, free to laugh, free to connect without constantly filtering every moment through fear, pressure, or emotional heaviness. That freedom creates lightness, and lightness creates flow. You may notice today that certain interactions feel different now, more natural, more energizing, more emotionally refreshing. Pay attention to that, because your nervous system is becoming more aware of what genuinely supports your energy, instead of merely draining it slowly. That awareness matters deeply, because once your spirit begins experiencing healthier emotional states, it naturally becomes less willing to remain emotionally trapped inside environments that continuously lower your vibration. And under Venus and Gemini, that clarity can arrive surprisingly fast. You suddenly realize some conversations energize you, while others exhaust you. Some environments expand your spirit, while others emotionally compress it. Some people inspire openness, while others reinforce tension. That realization is not judgment, it's alignment becoming clearer. And the clearer your alignment becomes, the easier it becomes to emotionally choose experiences that genuinely nourish your energy moving forward. You may also feel more confident expressing yourself now, not because you became perfect overnight, because your nervous system is slowly becoming less afraid of simply being seen authentically. That confidence creates a different kind of attraction, not forced attraction, energetic attraction. The kind that naturally emerges when someone feels emotionally connected to themselves again. And maybe that's the reconnection this transit has been helping awaken within you. Not just social energy, self-expression, joy, presence, the ability to emotionally engage with life without carrying unnecessary emotional heaviness into every interaction. That shift can change your reality more than you realize, because people respond differently to energy that feels open and alive. Opportunities respond differently too. More synchronicity appears, more flow appears, more emotionally aligned experiences begin entering naturally. Not because life suddenly became random, because your frequency changed. And once frequency changes, the emotional quality of your reality begins changing alongside it. You may even notice now that your spirit feels more optimistic again, more willing to trust new experiences, more emotionally available for connection, more open to believing that this next chapter of life can feel lighter than previous ones. That openness is beautiful, because the future expands more easily when your energy stops emotionally resisting joy. And maybe that's the invitation Venus and Gemini is bringing into your life now, not to force happiness artificially, but to stop unconsciously pushing away the experiences, people, and moments that genuinely uplift your spirit. So over these next few days, allow yourself to stay emotionally open. Follow what energizes you. Protect what repeatedly drains you.
Continue choosing environments, conversations, and experiences that make your spirit feel lighter instead of smaller. Because this transit is not only helping you attract more positivity into your life, it's helping you become emotionally available for the version of yourself who naturally belongs inside that positivity now.
As Venus settles into Gemini, take a moment to notice what your spirit has been trying to move toward lately. Not what fear wants, not what pressure demands. What genuinely makes you feel lighter, freer, more inspired, more emotionally alive. Because maybe that feeling is not random at all. Maybe it's guidance, a sign that your energy is beginning to align with a different emotional frequency now. One that no longer wants to live entirely through heaviness, overthinking, or emotional survival. One that wants movement again, connection again, joy again. And maybe that's the greatest shift this Venus in Gemini transit is quietly creating within you. Not dramatic transformation, emotional reopening. The kind that slowly changes how you communicate, how you connect, how you express yourself, how you experience everyday life. Because once your nervous system starts feeling safer emotionally, your entire relationship with life begins changing too. You become more present, more expressive, more willing to explore possibility instead of automatically expecting stress. That openness creates momentum, and momentum creates magnetism. You may already notice now that your energy feels different around certain people. You naturally gravitate toward lighter conversations, uplifting environments, emotionally refreshing experiences. That instinct matters because your spirit is becoming more aware of what genuinely expands your energy instead of emotionally compressing it. And the more consistently you follow what creates openness inside you, the more your emotional reality begins reorganizing around that frequency. Not through force, through alignment. Because life responds differently when your energy stops emotionally preparing for heaviness all the time. You begin noticing more beauty, more synchronicity, more opportunities to connect authentically. Even small moments start carrying more emotional warmth and meaning. That's the magic of lighter energy. It reconnects you with the present moment again. And the present moment is where joy actually lives. Not in constant future worry, not in emotional replay loops from the past. Here, inside openness, inside connection, inside curiosity. That's why this transit can feel so refreshing for the soul. Because after periods of emotional intensity, your spirit may finally be remembering that life is also meant to be experienced, not only analyzed, not only survived, experienced. Through conversation, through creativity, through movement, through meaningful connection and spontaneous moments that remind you how alive your energy is capable of feeling again. And maybe that aliveness is exactly what your next chapter needs most. Not perfection, presence. Not emotional control over everything, emotional openness toward what genuinely nourishes you. So as you move through these next few days, continue following what uplifts your spirit naturally. Continue protecting your nervous system from unnecessary heaviness. Continue allowing yourself to laugh, connect, express, and explore more freely. Because this Venus in Gemini transit is not only helping your energy become more magnetic, it's helping you reconnect with the version of yourself who feels emotionally alive enough to fully enjoy the life they are building now.